said against the Miami Heat, who found a way. I mean, what a convincing upset for a team that looked like they were not even going to make it through the play-in round. So for those that are listening and watching on Sports by Radio, the Brute Force Brad Wise, you better be singing the tune of New York Stand Up.
Oh, you know, Tom, I'm going to try to do a U-type introduction. Are you ready? Come on, sing along. Let's go.
I don't have a voice at this point, man. This is my
We are the
second
New
time
York
live.
Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. Come on. We are the New York Knicks. Come on. We are the New York Knicks. Go, New York. Go, New York. Go. 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 Yeah, that's right. New York, stand up. We are the New York Knicks, and we have won a playoff series. Yes. All right, listen. Oh, my God. I am so – listen, you held me down, Tom Bryce. You know, you gave me a nice little break there because I was ready to talk about these New York Knicks tonight. Oh, man, what a treat that this team has given us a playoff series win. I mean, my lifetime. We talked about it earlier, Tom, where we've seen no success, nothing. And finally, this team has shown us something. And not only did they show us something, Tom Bryce, they won a series, but they did it convincingly. They did not fool around. They did not, right, show any lack of urgency and intensity, right? And even in the second game, when they lost, Cleveland was hitting everything. They were firing on all cylinders. But in Game 3, they buckled down. They won. In Game 4, Julius Randle crying on the bench.
That was a tight game. That was, to me, the swing game of the series, was that fourth game where Cleveland gave you their best shot, and down the stretch, the Knicks were able to make the plays and win. That game last week.
And like I said, Julius Randle's crying on the bench, as he's done in the past, about, oh, I'm not in the game. I'm not getting my points. I can't do blah, blah. And guess what? The Knicks still did their job. And then, you know what? We're all like, oh, well, we'll lose the Game 5. We'll come back to the Garden in Game 6. The hell with that, the Knicks said. They said they're going back to Cleveland, and we're ending it right there. And that's exactly what the New York Knicks did. And one guy who deserves a ton of credit, again, Tom Bryce, this is what I do on the Sports Report. I bash people, but I do it for a reason. And I absolutely crushed R.J. Barrett. And what did he do? He came through. And guess what? What have I said from day one about the Mitchell trade? Oh, well, you should have given up Barrett for it. Well, guess what? Barrett said, hell with that.
You didn't want to do it. He was clutch early in the series and at the end of the series.
Yep. He said, hell with that. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to show out, and I'm going to take that. And I outplayed Donovan Mitchell the last 3 games. And he
was a non-factor really in this series. I mean, if you think about it, after Game 1, really, he was not. I mean, he had 30-something points in Game 1, but after that, he was nothing.
You give credit to a guy like Barrett because he was also defending him at times, but the guy who deserves the most credit, and a guy I can't even believe, I was on segment, weeks ago, Tom, saying, oh, well, we got another Quentin Grimes. We got another Miles McBride. Well, he's certainly not that. Josh Hart. I mean, this guy is fantastic.
I think he was the difference in this team's season. Remember the first month of the season against the Thunder, where they give up 140-plus points? Think about where this team went, where they were the only – yeah, go ahead.
Oh, man. I mean, you're just talking about it, how they're letting up points, but it's more than just points. It's possessions, Tom Bryce. He's a rebounding machine. He gets on the loose balls. Like, every loose ball is Josh Hart's ball if he's on the court. Every rebound is Josh Hart's. You hear him messing with Mitchell Robinson about how he's a better rebounder than him. And what does Mitchell Robinson do, by the way? He steps up his game and has arguably his best game in Game 5 of his Knicks career. 11 offensive rebounds and just dominating against those 2 big guys, Mobley and Garrett Allen. So the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but the New York Knicks are legit, and they have a chance to do something special this season. And again, everything's falling in their favor now because now they have the home series advantage. Yes, they're playing the Miami Heat. And I know the Miami Heat ain't nothing to sneeze at because Jimmy Butler is one of the best.
I mean, he went off in Game 5, and even the way they came back.
I got to correct you for a second. You pronounce his name wrong. He is Himmy Butler.
That's true. You're right, Himmy Butler. But listen, this guy who by the way deserves a lot more credit than he's gotten because he's been one of the best playoff performers for years now. I mean, last time
in the bubble. Remember in the bubble a couple of years ago? I mean, he was off. I mean, we remember speaking on the air about that. Remember him?
He was amazing. I mean, everyone forgets too that how good he was against Boston in that conference. And they lost, but you look at the two teams, and Miami was clearly the worst team, but Jimmy Butler almost won it himself. I mean, and you look at what he just did against Milwaukee without Tyler Hero, without Victor Oladipo, and he's still getting the job done. So listen, we have
98 points in games 4 and 5.
Unbelievable. So this guy is a superstar in the playoffs. He is. He's one of the best players in the playoffs.
He's one of those guys on the big stage for the Devils fan, Justin, almost like what Claude Lemieux was for the Devils. He would all of a sudden come out in the postseason, and this guy would play like 3 times better than he did in the regular season. Jimmy Butler, I mean, he's basically doing that as I think he playoff record he set for points in a playoff game, and then Game 5, what he does. I mean, listen, Miami is going to be no pushover. And again, a rivalry renewed. I mean, for people like Joey Bosa, I mean, they had some wars back in the day.
They are not an 8 seed that anyone wants to see. Because listen, like we just said, they've had playoff runs. I mean, they just had one. They got to the conference semifinals. Right in the bubble, they get to the finals. This team knows how to win in the playoffs, and Eric Spoelstra knows how to coach.
I think he might be. Listen, I mean, he might be the best coach left out there. I mean, in terms of what he's done with the team.
Definitely one of the best. Yeah, for sure. So, listen, this is going to be no easy task, Tom Bryce, but everything's in the Knicks' favor, right? We have the better team at this moment. When it comes to the bench, especially the bench is a big advantage, right? And a starting lineup. They're missing Tyler Hero, who's a really good player for them. They're missing a guy.
And we love Tyler Hero because he was a D3 guy. Remember that? Speaking about that years ago.
Well, Duncan Robinson's a D3 guy. And Duncan Robinson, by the way, has started to shoot really well after he's been in the dump all year. He's been basically on the bench. And he's came in and he's provided great minutes in shooting 3 as well. So I'm really excited for this series, Tom. This is going to be a great series. But the one thing that I think Milwaukee will do that the Knicks will do that Milwaukee did not do is they're going to make better adjustments defensively. I mean, Milwaukee did nothing to slow down Jimmy Butler. They wouldn't double team him. They kept the same Drew Holiday on him the whole time.
Squared off. I mean, they have history. I just don't get why they didn't make the adjustment.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, we just unfortunately said the sad news. Budenholzer's mind might have been somewhere else rather than the games.
Maybe the whole team too. Maybe the whole team too. That's their coach.
Right. And listen, I mean, he had some really, really bad decisions, Budenholzer. Some timeouts he didn't call, some situational stuff. But, and Giannis obviously going out.
The PSG guys were giving him a hard time after one of the games. They were just really, really just giving him a big
well, now that this news has came out, I think people will kind of pump the brakes on that a little bit. But with that being said, this is going to be a really good series. I see it as like one of those 90s matchups. It's going to be physical. It's going to be defensive-minded. It's going to be tough. Okay? But guess what, Tom Bryce? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to pick the New York Knicks, all right, to win this series again.
Wow.
6 or 7 games. I would say 7 at the Garden would be great, but the Knicks just proved me wrong that they could get it done earlier. And I just think that, again, Josh Hart is going to do a great job on Jimmy Butler. He did during the regular season. That's why the Knicks won a few of those games, 3 out of 4 to be exact. But when Hart was there, they won a couple games.
I kind of felt they were a different team a little bit after that trade. I know it was kind of like a trade we were like, I don't know. But I think they have an identity now. They're playing maybe in a way like Thibodeau might have always wanted. And, somebody was saying this on the radio, that the team 2 years ago that made the playoffs, it was almost like there was no expectations. It was a nice story. But you almost feel like with this team, I think we listened to the Knicks radio call. This is what it was, the Knicks radio call after they had clinched. And I think a point was really made that this team, because the way things break out, I mean, they can at least go to the conference finals. There's no reason why this team can't, because they're playing with an identity.
They
probably will.
I mean, Tom, listen, we talked about it. The fact that we're even talking about a chance at a conference finals with the New York Knicks. I have never had to say anything like this in my lifetime, right? I haven't even have a chance to say it, right? At this point, when you have the higher seed, you're favored, right? Yes, Miami's a good team, but you are the better team, right? You have a better team, and defensively, you are a really good basketball team. The Knicks are going to get this thing done, and I am just so excited to see this series because it's going to be really good. All the games against Miami this year were 8 points or less.
Yeah, we spoke about them a lot during the season of the Knicks and Heat, and then they were jockeying for position for quite a while, especially in the middle of the season. So it's going to be a really intriguing matchup.
It's going to be fantastic, but again, I'm going to pick the Knicks. I'm not sure about 6 or 7 games, but if they do that and they get to the conference finals, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, again, this is unimaginable stuff that the Knicks might be in the conference finals against either the Sixers or the Celtics, and obviously, I think a lot of us are going to pick the Celtics because the Sixers can never beat the damn Celtics. So
yeah, I was going to say I have no hope for the 76ers.
No,
they never win in these spots.
So.
For whatever reason.
You talk about Miami against the Knicks here in the semifinals. If the Knicks get by the Heat and the Celtics win, Celtics-Knicks in the conference finals, oh man, that's going to be something.
Yeah,
I will
say Knicks Celtics in the conference finals. That hasn't happened in what? I don't know, 40 years, right? 50 years? I don't know. Maybe.
Wow. I will say though, one thing that's going to be a big change in the series is I think it's not so much Jimmy Butler that I'm worried about, because listen, Jimmy Butler's going to get his. He's going to do his thing. Mm-hmm. I think their ability to, with the way Mitchell Robinson's played, their ability to control the glass and not let Bam Adebayo go nuts on the boards, I think that's going to be the biggest difference.